We have to amputate your legs today. That's what the doctor told me as I lay in a hospital bed. My son and daughter looked at me like they were watching their daddy die. And I guess they were. My 6-year-old daughter held my hands, looked me in the eye, and said, "Daddy, please don't die." The blinding, fluorescent lights burst over my head, and my nostrils filled with that bleach hospital smell, overpowering me in the cramped, chilly room. My wife squeezed my hand, tears streaming down her cheeks. "No," she cried. "He can't live the rest of his life in a wheelchair." Without the amputation, the doctor told me, "You'll be dead within a year." I couldn't believe it. But 4 years ago, the doctors wanted to put me under anesthesia and cut off my legs, leaving nothing but worthless stumps. All because I was one of the 70 million Nigerians with pre-diabetes or diabetes. The disease that ran rampant through my body, thrashing the blood vessels in my limbs until it practically cut off the circulation to my legs. The doctor made it clear that if he didn't amputate, that my legs would rotten like spoiled meat. So, what happened? And why am I telling you this? I'll answer the second question first. My name is Reverend David O.J., and I'm telling you this because I don't want you to go through the same horrifying experience that I did. Now, when all this happened, I didn't know all that much about this debilitating and potentially deadly disease. But now I've done my homework, and in my research, I've uncovered some eye-opening, even shocking facts. But I've also found hope for people like me, people who have diabetes. Now, a lot of people act like I did when I got diagnosed with diabetes. We let the statistics go in one ear and out in the other. But this is important because every single person represented in these statistics is someone like you and me: a mother, a father, a sister, a brother, a son or daughter, grandparents, friends, neighbors, co-workers, loved ones, you, me. We don't think we're going to become a statistic, but that's what this horrible disease does to folks like us. Like the start I was being faced with that day at the hospital. Did you know that every day over 20 people with diabetes have a limb amputated? That's over 7,000 per year. Yes, I will repeat, 7,000 sufferers have their limbs cut off in a calendar year. Even more distressing, 1 in 4 didn't know they had diabetes until it was too late. But worst of all, amputation isn't even the most dangerous part of uncontrolled blood sugar. As you may or may not know, diabetes also leads to Alzheimer's, dementia, heart failure, and cancer. When you have excess glucose, your blood becomes a nutrition-packed smoothie for cancer tumors, helping them grow at deadly speeds. That's why the Harvard Medical School Cancer Center has warned that up to 80% of all cancer is at least partially caused by imbalanced blood glucose and insulin. But it doesn't end there. A study published in medical journal Neurology found that diabetes almost doubled the risk of dementia. Your glucose-packed blood constantly rushes through your brain, adding to the buildup that causes Alzheimer's and other types of dementia. When I read that, I had trouble not imagining it happening inside my own brain. As I kept reading about my disease, it only got worse. One study showed that if you've got diabetes, your risk of heart attack is 11 times higher than the average person. At my age, I already had to worry about heart attacks. It was terrifying to learn that my risk was so much higher than I thought. Another found that diabetes increases your risk of having a stroke by 150%. And during a stroke, diabetes makes it even harder for blood to get to your brain. For most people, a stroke has about 17% chance of being fatal. But if you're diabetic, A stroke is almost 100% death sentence. I knew type 2 diabetes was bad, but it wasn't until I found these stats that I realized just how deadly of a situation I was in. So, if high blood sugar and type 2 diabetes are so deadly, why do most doctors prescribe treatments that only manage the symptoms, while ignoring the real cause of the disease? The short answer is that in the last few years, 11 pharmaceutical giants have been caught bribing hospitals and doctors to prescribe their medicine, regardless of the best treatment. But I'll share those details with you in just a second. First, I want to tell you the story of my own diabetes battle and show you the natural products that have been hidden, which you can use to restore your healthy blood sugar and even reverse your type 2 diabetes. It's all thanks to a rogue diabetes researcher named Dr. Roy Taylor, who solved a decades-old medical mystery. People have been reversing their diabetes through a combination of natural products, but we are being kept in the dark by these humongous pharmaceutical companies. That is, until Dr. Ray Taylor found the answer and changed diabetes treatment as we know it forever. These products work by jump-starting your pancreas, the part of your body that keeps your blood sugar levels healthy, keeping away insulin resistance. With this pancreas jumpstart solution that I'm about to show you, you'll be able to reverse your type 2 diabetes, sharply reducing or even eliminating your need for insulin, metformin, Amaryl, and your other erstwhile medications. Yes, erstwhile, as it will soon be for you. When you watch this presentation to the end, you're going to see how easy and most relaxing it was to instantly lower my blood sugar even after I enjoy something sweet, because I'm a sucker for a can of Coke or a bowl of vanilla ice cream and sugar cane. And this isn't some gimmick you see on the internet, like drinking gallons of water or soaking your food in vinegar and other bitter stuff. It's just reliable natural products discovered by medical researchers to keep your blood sugar down for up to 24 hours. Because, let's face it, when you jumpstart your pancreas, you'll be able to do it without losing your favorite foods. You'll be able to do it without getting drenched in sweat and gasping for breath from exhausting workouts. And you'll be able to do it without needing impossible levels of self-control. But I'll warn you though, you see, the 224 billion US dollars pharmaceutical industry is making a fortune with their insanely priced insulin shots and oral medications, which come packed with painful side effects and only help manage the symptoms of your diabetes, leaving you on diabetes life support until you die. You should know this. In late 2014, the federal government of the US slapped diabetes medication manufacturer Sanofi with fraud charges for bribing hospitals and doctors millions of dollars to push their medication on innocent people with diabetes like you and me. And they're just one of over 40 pharmaceutical companies who have faced similar fraud charges in the last 10 years. Once the word spreads about jumpstarting your pancreas to reverse type 2 diabetes, big pharmacies are going to go out of billions of dollars. So, you can imagine the fraudster CEOs are not happy you are watching this. Because once you know these secrets, you are only months away from reversing your type 2 diabetes or pre-diabetes. And for some people, it's as quick as 39 days. Look, it doesn't matter if you've had your diabetes for decades. It doesn't matter how old you are. It doesn't matter if your blood sugar levels are sky high. Just imagine, once you discover how to jumpstart your pancreas, which I'll show you on this video, you'll be free from annoying insulin, shots and painful finger pricks. You'll say goodbye to medicines that make you fat and nauseous. You'll stop worrying about early death amputations, and risky surgeries. The painful tingling, the painful tingling neuropathy in your feet, hands, and everywhere else in your body will fade away. You remove the stress of wondering when your vision will completely fail, leaving you blind for the rest of your life. You'll break free from the anxiety of constantly monitoring your blood sugar, watching jealously as other people eat your favorite foods, and you will never feel like a burden on your family and friends again. Just like these people who have already jump-started their pancreas, like Michael from Sapele, Delta, who said, "Your breakthrough video showed me the simple solution to my diabetes, and you had the science to back it up. I thought I'll be stuck with type 2 diabetes forever, but now I've been diabetes-free almost 18 months. My doctor was shocked when I told him that I hadn't needed an insulin shot for weeks. He had to test my blood sugar himself to believe it. It was quite easy to administer your Diasoline natural products. In 47 days, I was free of diabetes." And Lawal from Ogun, who said, "I felt overwhelmed by my diabetes. I was always tired at work, and I couldn't keep up with my kids anymore. Just the thought of vacation, or even a day on the town, made me feel exhausted. Diabetes made me feel like a prisoner in my own life. I'm so glad I found these natural products to reverse my type 2 diabetes. It's not untested junk science. It's a proven, practical method to jumpstart your pancreas and get your body to regulate your blood sugar again. I am living proof that it works. I haven't needed diabetes medication for over 6 months. Everybody with type 2 diabetes needs to use these products right now so they can reverse their diabetes in just a few weeks." Listen, it's not your fault if you have diabetes, and it's not an issue of being skinny or fat. You see, once you understand that this natural product is all out to tackle the mechanism of the cause of type 2 diabetes, and not just some cutting off the leaves while living the Ruth method, you'll sharply eliminate your need for other medications, which you can imagine will put a dent in the fraudulent profit of those pharmaceutical companies. So, turn off your cell phone and grab a pen and paper. You are about to discover how to destroy your type 2 diabetes. Now, I'm going to share my story with you, and honestly, it's a little embarrassing, but it's worth it to help you break free from your disease. I am 51 years, and I have a wife and 2 children, and I'm the head chef at Stop Shop 5-star restaurant. A few years ago, I almost lost everything. I'd been suffering from type 2 diabetes for over a decade. I've always had to worry about which foods would send my blood sugar off the charts. I became a chef because I love food, and now I was stuck eating bland, boring meals. I was a burden on my family, and I was terrified my kids would end up with my disease. Every single day, I had to prick my finger to test my blood sugar and then give myself painful insulin shots. I was spending about 170,000 naira per month on insulin alone. I tried the other diabetes medications that my doctor recommended, like metformin, Actos, or Amaryl. That was a disaster. I emptied my bank accounts and just about killing myself taking them. Metformin and Actos made me feel nauseous all the time, and Amaryl made me fat. Plus, a New England Journal of Medicine study linked several diabetes medicines to a 64% higher risk of heart attack or cardiovascular death. Even when I spent a week vacation with my family, I couldn't relax, always worrying about my blood sugar and whether I could get back to cooler if I needed insulin. My type 2 diabetes was emptying my wallet, destroying my body, and making my life miserable. I felt trapped. You've probably felt that way before, isn't it? And somewhat terrified that your diabetes is going to make your life worse and worse until it finally decides to kill you. But for me, it was about to get even worse. I'll never forget that day in my restaurant's kitchen. I was understaffed on a Saturday evening, the busiest shift of the week. My stress was through the roof. My heart was pounding, and the kitchen felt hotter and more humid than ever. I received an order from a medium rare steak, and then my knees went weak. The next thing I knew, I woke up in the hospital. I saw my wife and two teenage kids sitting around me, their eyes red and puffy from crying. The room smelled like cleaning liquid, and I heard the steady beeping of the heart monitor. When my wife saw I was awake, she threw her arms around me and then called for the doctor. My son and daughter looked at me like they were watching their daddy die, and I guess they were. My 6-year-old daughter held my hands, looked me in the eye, and said, "Dad, please don't die." Tears dripped from my eyes, and before I could utter a word, the doctor came in to look me up and to explain what happened. "You went into a diabetic coma," said the doctor, "a non-ketotic hyperglycemic hypersmolar coma, and your blood glucose level was at 1,174. Do I even know what that means?" One of the other chefs had called a taxi, and some quick-thinking paramedics and emergency room doctors had saved my life. If I had been alone when it happened, I'd be dead. The doctor cleared his throat, like he was nervous about telling me something even worse. He continued, "Because your diabetes is so advanced, we'll need to amputate your legs. I've scheduled the surgery for this afternoon." "No," said my wife, "absolutely not." "I'm sorry," the doctor insisted. "We can give him another 10 years to live, but we have to operate immediately." My daughter started crying. While my wife argued with the doctor, I got lost in my thoughts. Amputation. Sincerely, it is every diabetic's worst fear. And only 10 years to live. I didn't believe it. The doctor had to be wrong. How was I going to support my family? I couldn't run a restaurant kitchen from a wheelchair. I would spend my last years crippled and useless. The future felt like a dark, fuzzy blur, and terrifying path that I didn't want to go through. I didn't know it yet, but if it wasn't for the fraudsters at these 11 pharmaceutical companies bribing doctors to prescribe their drugs, then I might have already heard about these natural products to reverse my disease. It was like they had ripped away my golden years of retirement, robbed me of my chance to meet my grandchildren, and destroyed the life I had worked so hard to build. But I'll get to that in a second. Stay with me. Now, all the time I was thinking this, my wife was arguing with the doctor. And trust me, when my wife gets upset, she tends to get what she wants. When I started listening again, she was telling the doctor, "There is no way you are cutting off his legs." And the doctor responded, "The longest we can wait to amputate is 30 days. Just 30. If we wait any longer, it will be too dangerous." My wife gave a short little nod like she had won, but the tears glistening in her eyes told me she was heartbroken. The next week was the worst week of my life. I sat at home on my couch, scared and depressed. My family treated me like I was already dead. My daughter said, "I love you, Daddy," every time she walked by. And my son got mad and wouldn't talk to me. He didn't even understand why I couldn't be around forever. I was ready to give up. But then, a Facebook post saved me. My friend shared an article about a rogue diabetes researcher named Roy Taylor. He's a medical doctor and a professor of medicine and metabolism at Newcastle University. Other universities look to Newcastle as a pioneer in health research. Its professors and alumni have received numerous awards and medals for their achievements in science and medicine. More importantly, they saved millions of lives by curing and preventing diseases. And Dr. Taylor fits right in. His research has been published in dozens of medical journals, changing the way we see diabetes. Yale University even tried to hire him, but he felt loyal to Newcastle. A few years ago, Dr. Taylor faced his biggest challenge yet, a medical mystery that had gone unsolved since 1954. When type 2 diabetics have gastric bypass surgery, their diabetes disappears almost overnight. This happens all over the world, and it's been happening for decades. The thing is, gastric bypass surgery is an operation on the stomach. It doesn't have anything to do with blood sugar or diabetes. And yet, almost every single patient has their blood sugar and insulin levels return to normal, reversing their type 2 diabetes and reducing or even eliminating their need for medication. But for years, no one knew why. Something was reversing their type 2 diabetes, and Dr. Taylor set out to figure it out.
I had a knee injury to start with, and I went to the doctors with that, and they done a routine test because I was feeling quite unwell. I was sort of feeling tired, and it came back. He phones back the next day and said your sugar levels are very high. Could you come back? And I think even in the 30s at the time. So they put me on metformin straight away and done some more tests. So me and my father had diabetes. He died a few years ago with some complications. So it was quite a shock when he told me I had getting diabetes as well. They contacted me saying, would I like to participate in a trial which could help with your diabetes.
The DIRECT trial moves forward from our basic work, which has allowed us to understand diabetes, to see if we can apply in ordinary general practice some lessons that we learnt from our early studies. So after the first year, we found that a half of everybody who'd gone into the intervention group was in remission.
I was only going to be on 800 calories per day, and it was only going to be 3 shakes. There was no solid food involved, it was just all liquids. By the second day I started getting a bit of energy. I was starting to pick up a bit, and by the third, fourth day I started feeling better. I was thinking, oh, I can actually probably do this. But my taste changed. I would never ever eat peppers and celery and things like that. Towards the end of it, I dropped down to 68 kilograms from 94.5, I think it was.
The big change comes about because all of a sudden people are able to move around much more easily. It's like taking off a rucksack, it's that much different.
From 16 tablets a day I went down to 0. My blood pressure, which was sky high, went back to normal. And then at the end of the 12 weeks they said I was in remission and my diabetes had gone.
The body uses up the excess fat that's in the liver. It uses up the excess fat that's in the pancreas. And the behaviour of these two organs goes back to normal. So Diabetes UK is behind this revolution in understanding and managing type 2 diabetes. But of course the Diabetes UK money has got to come from somewhere to support the research, and for that we have to thank all the volunteers, everybody who's donated to make this research possible.
My long distance eyesight came back. I used to wear glasses for driving. That went back to normal. And like I say, my blood pressure went to normal. And just felt really great, felt 10 years younger.
So for a person with type 2 diabetes, going into remission means no more tablets to take. Everybody needs to bear in mind that this is dependent long term upon people keeping their weight down.
When they told us we were on remission, it was just like a new lease of life. It was amazing. If you want to change your life and you want to go back to where you were and you want to be fit and healthy, I turned my life around. I was quite
Now, we already knew that type 2 diabetics have fat deposits around their pancreas. But for years, researchers thought they were an effect of the disease. Here's what Dr. Taylor discovered. Fat deposits around the pancreas are the primary cause of the disease. See, the pancreas produces insulin, the hormone that helps your body absorb blood sugar. That means the pancreas is the organ responsible for keeping your blood glucose levels normal. It's a precise job. Not enough insulin and your blood sugar will skyrocket. When fat deposits form around the pancreas, it throws everything out of whack. That fat squeezes and invades the pancreas, preventing it from producing enough insulin and increasing your body's insulin resistance. That means your bloodstream gets less insulin, and the insulin that actually there can barely do its job of helping your body absorb blood sugar. These fat deposits keep your blood glucose levels dangerously high, making you develop type 2 diabetes. Dr. Taylor realized that for the gastric bypass patients, their type 2 diabetes disappeared because the fat deposits around their pancreas disappeared. Get rid of the fat deposits and you get rid of type 2 diabetes. Remember, the surgery doesn't touch these fat deposits. So the mystery continued. What was dissolving these fat deposits? Gradually, in early 2012, Dr. Taylor got a clue. Everyone that goes through gastric bypass surgery is given a temporary food supplement plan to follow. This food supplement plan, in form of capsule, has the exact fats, sugars, carbs, and essential vitamins and minerals to attack and destroy those fat deposits around the pancreas. Getting rid of them so quickly was like giving a jump start to the pancreas. With the fat deposits gone, the pancreas kicked back into gear, regulating blood glucose by producing the right amount of insulin and lowering insulin resistance. By the end of this specialized food supplement plan, which took about 58 days, virtually every single person eliminated their need for diabetes medication. Dr. Taylor was thrilled. He had discovered the real cause of type 2 diabetes, and he had just discovered the solution that had been right under everyone's nose for decades. And since Dr. Taylor works at one of the top diabetes research universities in the world, he didn't have to try to convince people that he was right. He could prove it. He designed a temporary meal plan to jumpstart the pancreas based on the one used by the gastric bypass patient. Then he ran a medical study at Newcastle University, which in 2013 was published in the medical journal Diabetologia. Dr. Taylor gave his food supplement remedy to people with type 2 diabetes from all walks of life: men, women, young, old, the newly diagnosed, and people who have had the disease for decades. The results were amazing. Everyone who completed the dosage saw the fat deposits around their pancreas disappear, their blood sugar normalized, and their type 2 diabetes reversed. Every single person was able to stop taking their medication. I'll say that again. All of the participants, I mean 100%. Remember, these results were peer-reviewed in the medical journal Diabetologia, which means other researchers tested them for accuracy with the utmost scrutiny. When I read how successful this was, I was both excited and furious. Excited because now I had hope for the future, and I hadn't allowed the doctor to amputate my legs just yet. And furious because Dr. Taylor published a study several years ago. Why wasn't this the first thing my doctor told me when I was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes? What he should have said was, "You have diabetes, now let's get rid of it." Instead, what they actually said was, "You have diabetes, let's put a band-aid on the symptoms." Because that's what diabetes medication and insulin shots are: band-aid fixes that only treat the symptoms, when the root cause of your diabetes is the fat deposits around your pancreas. Now, I wasn't just complaining. I really wanted to know why I had never heard about this. I've gone to the same doctor for 20 years. I trusted him. If he knew there was a solution, he would have told me. What I discovered next made my blood boil. The federal government recently charged the diabetes medication manufacturer Sanofi with fraud. Big Pharma has been bribing doctors and hospitals to prescribe their diabetes medication. It's a French company called Sanofi, and they've been charged with bribing hospitals and doctors in the US and Africa to prescribe Sanofi diabetes medication. I'm talking tens of millions of dollars, and that's not even the worst of it. In just the last 10 years, 11 of the top 25 pharmaceutical companies have faced similar bribery charges, and 24 of the top 25 companies have faced other fraud charges, including covering up dangerous side effects, lying about success rates, and illegally inflating prices. Last year in the US alone, pharmaceutical companies paid $3.75 billion in penalties for fraud, more than the previous 8 years combined. The problem is only getting worse. So, it's no wonder the word about this natural treatment hadn't gone out. Pharmacy giants like Sanofi are bribing doctors to prescribe you their drugs instead. Obviously, they couldn't have bribed every single doctor, but they don't have to. Just bribing a few is enough who are on top to stop the news of this discovery from spreading. So, I knew if I wanted to reverse my diabetes, I was on my own. As good and simple as the discovery of this breakthrough food supplement pill sounded, Dr. Taylor, with years of experience, understands that compliance to meal plan would be an issue. As difficult as it may seem to adhere to a drug plan, it is much more Herculean task when compared to that of meal plan. Dr. Taylor knew he had not completed his research and went further to dig deep and see if there could be a substance or a combination of it that could be formulated that can mimic the action of the meal plan, since we now know the cause of diabetes and insulin resistance. What the meal plan did was to boost metabolism to achieve the blood sugar lowering effect. How can this same metabolism be achieved with a drug? In 2013, alas, light broke forth. A natural product was found that could deal with the fat that upsurges the blood sugar level. These natural products actually reversed my type 2 diabetes. I told my wife and she wept for joy. Then came the day I had been dreading, my next appointment with my doctor. He wanted to check how I was doing and scheduled the surgery to amputate my legs. I went to the hospital, they did their test, and then I waited in the exam room. First, the doctor stuck his head in. There's something wrong with the tests. We are running them again, so I waited even longer. Finally, he came back. What did you do? He asked, looking at his clipboard. For a second, I thought he was mad at me. What did you change? He asked again. A new diet? I told him about jump-starting my pancreas with Dazzling food supplement. Well, said the doctor, that just saved your legs and your life. We don't need to amputate. And as healthy as these tests look, you could live to be 100. He continued. 6 weeks ago, you had the worst case of type 2 diabetes I have ever seen. And now it's like you never had it at all. It's a miracle. I want you to imagine what it felt like to hear the doctor say your diabetes has disappeared. Suddenly, I had my whole life ahead of me. I would never again have to stick myself with painful insulin needles. I would never again have to feel like a burden to my family and friends. I could go play football with some youth on my street or do any activities with my family and not worry about how tired I would get or what food I could eat. I was finally free. That evening, over a scrumptious dinner, I told my wife everything. We have to share your secrets, my wife said. Now, I don't know what I was thinking, but I was hopeful the pharmaceutical companies would want to hear me out. I called and wrote letters, but it was no use. Of course, they didn't care. The pharmaceutical companies make over $245 billion on diabetes every year, and they know exactly how much each one of their customers is worth to them. They earn about $4,174 per year. That's about 1.5 million naira for each diabetic patient. That's $83,500, 30 million naira or more over their lifetime. But they only get that money if they keep you managing the symptoms of your disease instead of fixing the cause. And as those 11 pharmaceutical giants have shown, they will do anything to keep those profits, even bribe the doctors to prescribe their drugs. I was mad as hell. If I wanted to get the word out, it would be up to me. My wife and I decided to gather some group of people who know the truth about the real cause of type 2 diabetes and the secrets to jumpstarting your pancreas so you can throw away your insulin, metformin, and all. We started with friends, family, and neighbors. Anyone we knew who suffered from type 2 diabetes or pre-diabetes, we shared my story and invited them to try what I had learned for myself. I couldn't believe the results. Everyone who took the Asulin natural products reversed their type 2 diabetes. They couldn't thank us enough. Once we saw how much these natural products help people, we knew we had to go bigger and show the whole world about jumpstarting your pancreas. The night we finished, we were sitting at my kitchen table. We just shared a hearty meal, something we'd never been able to do if I hadn't reserved my diabetes. I told my wife, this is it, the answer for everyone with type 2 diabetes. It's their key to freedom. We could both feel how big this was. We knew there were people who would want to shut us down, but we were determined to share the truth. We called it the Type 2 Diabetes Destroyer and started sharing it over the internet. These natural products have been saving lives and giving diabetes sufferers hope and optimism about the future. If you're watching this video so far, then I think you are ready to be part of this exclusive group of people. I want you to be ready to purchase this product that helps you with metabolism without stress. I want you to be one of the few who knows how to destroy your type 2 diabetes. Introducing the Asulin capsule. This scientific breakthrough formula is capable of bringing your blood glucose to normal, bringing your cholesterol level to normal, activating the islet gland of the pancreas to secrete insulin, attacking and removing excess glucose from the blood, and preventing complication of diabetes. You must have understood that diabetes isn't your fault, and you now know what's really causing it. You're ready to move on and deal with the problem. With Diasulin, you can say goodbye to a life full of frustration and fear and start enjoying freedom from diabetes. Now, you might be wondering, how fast can you expect to see results? Well, in Dr. Taylor's main study, they tested 8 people at 8 weeks and then at 12 weeks. By 8 weeks, about 50% of the participants had normal blood glucose levels. By 12 weeks, 100% of the participants had reversed their type 2 diabetes. The fastest it has happened was 47 days. So, if you start using the Asulin capsule today, you could be diabetes free in less than 12 weeks. Here's what it could be like for you. For your 4th to 5th week of using the Asulin capsule, a lot of people say they have more energy on the first week. You wake up feeling more refreshed and well rested than you have in years. Each week, as you test your blood glucose levels, you'll notice that number getting closer and closer to where it should be. You will discover that it feels like there are more hours in the day and you're getting more done. The truth is, you're so used to being exhausted all the time. If you suffer from painful, tingling neuropathy, you should notice that starting to disappear around the end of the 3rd week. Over the next 8 to 12 weeks, as you religiously take your Diasulin capsule, your pancreas will kick back into gear and your body will remember how to absorb insulin. Your blood glucose will stay at a healthy, normal level. You'll be able to stop taking insulin injections. You'll be able to talk to your doctor and see the surprised look on his face, just like I saw on my doctor's face when he saw my type 2 diabetes was gone. If you start today, then in less than 100 days from today, you will be free to enjoy life and never again worry about diabetes-related early death or amputation. If that sounds as amazing to you as it has to me and thousands of others, then don't hesitate to get this miracle pill as soon as possible. You know, I would love to give this away for free, like I did to the first few friends I helped. I would love to help every single person who has found themselves trapped in the shackles of type 2 diabetes suddenly jumpstart their pancreas and have their diabetes reversed. And if I had all the money in the world to fund this myself, I would. But the reality is, we are up against some pretty big forces here. I told you how big the pharmaceutical companies make $245 billion a year on treating diabetes. They have all the money they need to practically bury anything we do to share this message with the world. So, I need your help in the form of giving me a fair price for this breakthrough formula that would radically change your life for the better. So, here is the cost of getting Diasoline capsules at your doorstep in 48 hours or less. I could tell you Diasoline capsule is worth over 450,000 naira, and it should be, probably since it all will save you more than that on medical costs every year. My wife and I could get rich, maybe if we charge that much for it. Big Pharma may be comfortable charging you 450,000 naira to put a band-aid on your diabetes, but I'm not that kind of person. I may be a chef, but I'm just a regular guy. I don't want to stiff you on this. I want you to feel like you're getting way more value than the little investments you make. And so, I think that 87,999 naira is a great price. So you get some serious savings and you help us spread this message even wider. You can start destroying your type 2 diabetes right now for only 87,999 naira. It's recommended you take 3 bottles of Diasoline capsule for 3 months to totally eliminate your type 2 diabetes. And of course, it's the exact number of bottles I took to reverse my disease in less than 90 days. So, I give you my word on this. I strongly recommend you take it as such to get the desired result. 3 bottles of Diasoline capsule for 3 months, 87,999 naira recommended. Now, take a second and imagine what it would be like to finally be able to get rid of your daily insulin shot and feel in control of your life again. It's time to be free of type 2 diabetes. To place your order, option 1, click the link below this video to proceed to the order page, where you can place your order by filling the form therein. Option 2, send SMS or text with below details to 0903 0026 491 or 0814 7546 354 with your full name, your full address, local government area and state, your phone numbers you can provide to if available. Example of the SMS format: Mr. Ike Taiwo Idris, number 5 Adeniyi Close, VI, Lagos, 0806 5482 748 0817 4729 8492. Complete pack of Diasoline capsule. Once you place your order via either of the provided option, our agent will call you and bring it to your doorstep within 48 hours. You are also going to get 100% free shipping. I can ship to your home address, your office, your mom or dad's address, or even a friend's house. Just click the button below this video page and let me know where you want your bottles shipped. What else are we supposed to say? It will be foolhardy to be doubtful of what is gainful. So, here's a risk-free way for you to try out the Diasoline capsule. Place your order right now and it will be sent to you by AirTook Express Priority Overnight Delivery Company in record time. So, you can start taking it right away. I repeat, place your order right now and it will be sent to you by AirTook Express Priority Overnight Delivery Company in record time. If for some reason it doesn't work for you, even though it worked for virtually every single person so far, or if you just decide it's not for you, then I'm offering you a money-back guarantee. If for any reason you're not satisfied with the Diasoline capsule, Just request a refund within 90 days and I'll refund your money 100%. That means in 90 days, you should have jump-started your pancreas and reversed the real cause and painful symptoms of your type 2 diabetes, or you'll get every penny back. If you're ready to make the smartest decision of your life, place your order now. Before I sign off, I really want you to think for a moment about your future and your family. What will happen if you don't make any changes? What will happen if you let your diabetes destroy your life? Every day for the rest of your life, you'll have to go through the annoyance and pain of blood tests and insulin injections. Think about it. You'll try medicine after medicine with no results, except dangerous side effects like nausea, weight gain, and heart disease. Not to mention all the vacations, new cars, and other luxuries you won't be able to afford because you're spending all your money on your diabetes medication. Until the day you die, you'll be a burden on your friends and family. But even that torture won't be enough to stop the slow decay of your body. Each day, you'll have less energy. Each month, your body will get worse and worse. How long until your foot won't stop tingling and then goes completely numb? How long until the doctor tells you they have to cut it off? How many amputations will you go through before diabetes leads you to an early grave? Now, I'm sorry if this scares you, but sometimes I feel like I have to be direct. After all, this was the direction my life was heading until I discovered how to destroy my type 2 diabetes. Listen, this doesn't have to happen to you. You can destroy your diabetes just like me and many others. You can start enjoying life again. Even eating your favorite foods that used to make your blood sugar go haywire. You can live a long, happy life, having the energy you need to do the things you love with the people you love. You can be free. After all, it takes these natural products. We have limited bottles of Diaceline capsule on ground, and I can't guarantee supply if the stock runs out. I hope you will do the needful. Let us conquer type 2 diabetes together. Reverend David O.J., type 2 diabetes destroyer. Call or SMS 0903 0026 491 or WhatsApp 0814 7546 354. Please note, because of the great customer demand, you may have to call 2 or 3 times before getting through on the phone. Don't stop trying. It's more than worth it. I expect that the price after this offer period will be significantly higher. To your successes. Thank you.